The rain was coming down in sheets as I stared out the window of my Seattle apartment. I'm Oswin, 44, and until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A good job as a software developer, a comfortable life, and a wife, Idaline, whom I adored. We'd been married for 15 years, met in college, and built a life together brick by brick. Or so I thought. The first crack appeared subtly, almost invisibly. Idaline, a real estate agent, started working late more often. "The market's crazy, Oswin," she'd say, her voice tired but bright. "Gotta strike while the iron's hot." I didn't doubt her, I trusted her implicitly. Trust, I would soon learn, is a dangerous thing to give blindly. Then came the little things. A new perfume I hadn't bought her. A sudden interest in a restaurant she'd always dismissed as too trendy. A guardedness when I asked about her day. I chalked it up to stress. We were both under pressure at work. Marriage had its ups and downs, right? But a nagging feeling persisted. A seed of doubt had been planted, and it began to sprout tendrils of unease in my gut. I started paying closer attention, not in a controlling way, but with a heightened awareness. I noticed the way she'd flinch when her phone rang, the way she'd angle her laptop screen away from me when she was working in the evenings. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Idaline had told me she had a late showing, a potential buyer flying in from out of state. I worked from home that day, buried in code, barely noticing the hours ticking by. Around 7 p.m. I decided to surprise her with dinner. Her favorite Thai place was just a few blocks away. I called her to see if she wanted anything specific, no answer. I tried again, still nothing. Probably busy, I told myself, trying to quell the rising tide of anxiety. I decided to drive to the office, figuring I could meet her there and we could grab takeout together. Her office was in a sleek, modern building downtown. I parked across the street and walked over, the rain beginning to taper off. The lobby was deserted, the security guard nodding sleepily behind the desk. I knew Idaline's office was on the 5th floor, so I headed for the elevators. As I waited, I glanced out the large glass windows, and that's when I saw it. Across the street in a dimly lit Italian restaurant, I saw Idaline. She was sitting at a table, laughing, her hand resting on the arm of a man I didn't recognize. He leaned in close and she tilted her head back, her eyes sparkling. It wasn't the way she looked at me. Not anymore. My breath hitched. My heart pounded in my chest. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I stood there, frozen, watching them. The man, I later learned, was named Broderick. He was a developer, one of the guys who built houses for Idaline's agency. He was younger, taller, and handsome in a way I never had been. I watched them for what felt like an eternity, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. This wasn't a business meeting. This was something else, something intimate, something wrong. I couldn't bring myself to go inside. I couldn't confront her, not then. I turned and walked back to my car, the rain starting up again, mirroring the storm raging inside me. The drive home was a blur. I parked the car and went inside, trying to compose myself. I paced the living room, my mind replaying the scene I'd witnessed. The laughter, the touch, the way she looked at him. It was all so clear now. The late nights, the perfume, the guardedness. It all added up. When Idaline finally came home, around 9 p.m., she looked tired but happy. "Hey, honey," she said, kissing me on the cheek. Long night. That buyer was a real pain. I stared at her, my face a mask of forced calm. "How was the restaurant?" I asked, my voice flat. She blinked, her smile faltering. "Restaurant? What restaurant?" "The Italian place downtown," I said, my voice rising. "The one you were at with Broderick." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She just stood there, caught in the spotlight of her own deceit. "I saw you, Idaline," I said, my voice trembling. "I saw you with him. Don't insult me by lying." The tears started then. She sank onto the couch, sobbing. "Oswin, I can explain." "Explain what?" I demanded. "Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to my face." The explanation, when it came, was a tangled mess of rationalizations and half-truths. She claimed it had started innocently, a few harmless lunches. Then it had escalated slowly, insidiously, until she'd found herself in too deep. She said she loved me, that she didn't want to hurt me, that it was a mistake, but the words rang hollow. The trust was gone, shattered into a million pieces. How could I believe anything she said after this? How could I ever look at her the same way? I spent the next few days in a daze, going through the motions of life but feeling nothing. I went to work, I ate, I slept, but I was just a shell of myself. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, had been replaced by a stranger. Idaline moved into the guest room. We barely spoke. The house was filled with a heavy silence, broken only by the occasional sob from her side of the house. I couldn't bring myself to forgive her. The betrayal was too deep, the wound too raw. I started digging. I needed to know everything. I checked her phone records, her emails, her bank statements. What I found was worse than I could have imagined. The affair with Broderick wasn't just a mistake. It was a full-blown relationship. They'd been seeing each other for months. They'd taken trips together, used our money, lied whenever they could. But the worst part was the emails. I found emails where they were discussing leaving their spouses and buying a house together. They were planning a future that didn't include me. I felt a rage building inside me, a cold, burning fury that threatened to consume me. I wanted to scream, to break things, to make her feel the pain she'd inflicted on me. But I didn't. I knew that wouldn't solve anything. I needed to be smart. I needed to be strategic. I needed to make her pay. I started by contacting a lawyer. I wanted a divorce, and I wanted everything I was entitled to. I wasn't going to let her walk away with half of our assets after what she'd done. Then I started looking into Broderick. Idaline had mentioned that he was working on a big development project, a new luxury condo complex downtown. I did some research and discovered that there were some serious ethical concerns about the project. Broderick had cut corners, ignored safety regulations, and bribed city officials to get the project approved. I gathered all the evidence I could find and sent it to the local news outlets. It didn't take long for the story to break. Broderick's reputation was ruined, the development project was shut down, and he was facing criminal charges. I watched it all unfold with a grim satisfaction. It wasn't enough to erase the pain, but it was a start. Idaline, of course, was devastated. Not only was her affair exposed, but her lover was now facing jail time. She blamed me, accused me of being vindictive and cruel. "You ruined his life," she screamed at me one night. "How could you do that? He ruined our life," I said, my voice cold. "Don't act like you're the victim here. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I got the house, the car, and a significant portion of our savings." Idaline was left with nothing but her shame and regret. I haven't spoken to her since. I don't know what happened to her. I don't care. She made her choices, and she has to live with the consequences. As for me, I'm still picking up the pieces. The pain is still there, a dull ache in my heart, but I'm moving on. I'm rebuilding my life brick by brick, this time on a foundation of truth and honesty. I know I'll never be the same. The experience has changed me, hardened me, but I'm also stronger, more resilient. I know now that I can survive anything, even the deepest betrayals. The rain has stopped now. The sun is starting to peek through the clouds. A new day is dawning, and for the first time in a long time, I feel a glimmer of hope. I will get over this. I will find happiness again. I deserve it. It's been a long journey filled with heartbreak and pain. But I've learned a valuable lesson. Trust is precious, but it must be earned. And sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who are capable of causing the greatest pain. And to anyone out there going through something similar, you are not alone. Your feelings are valid, and you will get through this. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and never give up on hope.